man supposed to be doing today? Just take a gander. Now guess what I'm actually gonna do today. Did you guess E? It's E. Is anyone surprised? So I did that gathering experiment, and while I was gathering the knit, a dress idea came to me. Nothing massively, insanely different, just something that I was like, I'd like to make that. Ooh, what is all of that? There's a project that I have, there's a dress that I want to make that involves a lot of gathering and is the reason that I did that gathering experiment. This is not it. This is rando idea out of the middle of nowhere. Honestly, it just seemed like it would be comfy. And since I'm in the mood to avoid all of my responsibilities, especially editing, I thought I'd make it today. Y'all, I don't know what all of these threads in this fabric were. I mean, it's a remnant that I got from Remainders, so who knows? Maybe it was something before, but there were just a bunch of threads in it. Ah, that's a long one. Okay, bye. I pulled this fabric out because it is the same soft knit material like this dress that I just absolutely love wearing because it's light and it's soft to the touch and it moves with you, and like all of my senses adore it. It's also very, very bright and loud, and you know what? I'm okay with that. Infiltrating my wardrobe with handmade, very, very colorful clothing is kind of the name of the game these days. Wow, there's so many of them. What are you doing here? So like I said, the idea is pretty simple. I'm thinking a sort of tank style top, but empire waist, and then a gathered skirt, basically as long as the fabric will allow. I haven't decided if I want to gather this empire waist with elastic or with a drawstring though. I'll figure that out as I go. Should be simple, right? Super simple. Yeah, totally. Easy peasy. Squeezy all the lemons. Of course, I need to get pockets into that, which is always a little more interesting in a knit dress because, you know, no structure. I'm thinking about literally attaching the pockets to the empire waist, having them start up here and go all the way down. Is that ridiculous? Kinda, but if I can afford the fabric, then I'd rather do that. Then they're supported by the dress themselves, and if I put something in them, they're not gonna be like, bleh. That was my impression of a knit pocket. So the dress itself is like 4 pieces. Top, back, skirt, front, skirt, back. And then 4 more smaller pieces for the pockets. Yeah? It almost seems too easy. I suppose the shocking thing here is that this is all I'm going to do in this video. We're making just 1 dress, not 5? Who are you? How am I doing this? I'm gonna study this store-bought dress. I'm gonna lightly look at it because it's sort of got that tank style top. So I'm mostly interested to see if the front and back piece are exactly the same, because shouldn't the front piece be bigger? We have boobs. Not according to this dress. These are exactly the same front and back. Which I guess when you're using a really stretchy material is like, why not? Oh, I'm also gonna need binding. Unless I line. Yeah, okay, I think that'll work. Oh, it could be a maxi dress. All right. Oh, it's yard work time. I guess I'll switch to voiceover now. What did I say? 7? I am forever forgetting whether I've included seam allowances in my calculations or not. Am I gonna totally wing it on cutting this? Sure, yeah. How bad could it be? So I cut out an entire empire tank top piece that is 18 inches across, 16.5 inches tall, 3 inches in strap width, with the neckline 7 inches deep and 5 inches wide, and an armhole 9 inches deep and 8 inches wide. Did you get all that? Exciting stuff. I have very little idea if this will fit right. Then I cut out 3 more because I'm not a fan of binding. Love the look, just hate sewing it. So I decided I'd just line the bodice and avoid all of that. Here. Cutting it a little close. Realized at the 4th piece that I really shouldn't have just blazed ahead with cutting the first one on the fold, because now my 4th piece is actually 2 pieces with barely any seam allowance. Oh well, I'll figure it out. Cool. Next, I used the armhole dips to create 2 pockets, 4 pieces, each 8 inches wide and 16 inches long. I trimmed the remaining piece of fabric into a nice, not that straight line, and then cut it in half to be the skirt. 2 panels, each one measuring 38 by 39 inches, for no real reason whatsoever. It's just what I had left over. I then remembered that I need a drawstring. Oh wait, I need a drawstring. Whoops! Since the length of this dress is inconsequential to me, I cut about a half-ish inch off the top of the 2 skirt panels to turn into the skinny little drawstring. Okay. Then I was hungry. Lunchtime! Here's a random question. How do you respond to wrong number text messages? Not the clearly scammy ones, the ones that are like, hello. But you know, when it becomes clear that it's really a person who got a wrong number. The message I got today was, Rita, it's Janie. Are you excited for your birthday party? Now, I'm not Rita, I don't know a Janie, and my birthday is not for months. But when she texted again a few hours later and said, hey, did you get my message? My natural immediate response is, I think you have the wrong number. Why does my brain stick the words I think on the beginning of that statement? Why does my brain feel like that is a necessity? I don't think you have the wrong number. I know you have the wrong number. So then I said to myself, don't put I think, just say you have the wrong number. And I started typing, and what my fingers typed was, I'm sorry. Why do I have to be sorry? I didn't do anything. She didn't even really do anything. There's nothing wrong, and there's no need to be sorry. These are things that I've started paying attention to more recently, in the last few years, I guess I would say, is like, how do I respond to things, and why do I do it that way? I've been aware of the I'm sorry thing for a long time. I think that's a pretty stereotypical female response that we're all trying to get over, but I've become more aware of the I think thing recently. I throw the words I think on the beginning of so many statements, where it's just totally unnecessary, and I could have just said, here's the fact, and I didn't really have to put that little asterisk on it of I think, and yet I do. Good times. I have no point. I did warn you in an earlier video that these videos would get very chatty, and I don't think that I'm sorry about it. Progress. Let's sew a dress, shall we? I do not have thread even close to this color. White it is. Do I have white thread? Oh, yes I do. Hello, bobbins, my old friend. What's my plan? I'm gonna make the drawstring because it feels like my brain needs a little bit of processing time. So exciting, exciting. I am so happy to be doing this instead of all my other responsibilities. How am I gonna turn this right side out? Is a question I never consider until after I've sewn something together. I have been seeing a lot of like sewing hacks on Instagram, and a lot of them are for how to turn these things right side out easily. And I always just save them and immediately forget. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a thread thing, but that's a really long thread. Is this a house for hermit crab? AKA, is this how this trick works? Sure, all right. Is it working? As usual, my cutting job is abysmal. Don't make that sound. Such a drama queen. Okay, are we ready to see if this trick worked? Astound me. Holding out for the astounding part. Not yet astounded, but give it some time. We can get there. I'm incredibly not astounded. You know, that was always my question, was isn't the little piece of thread or cord just going to like fray and slip out? Granted, I know what you're all gonna say, or at least 2 of you are gonna say, that was embroidery floss. What a stupid choice. The ends of embroidery floss already fray. I know! We're back to the old-fashioned way, whether I like it or not. See, I told you I didn't actually remember the hacks. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think they just sewed and used the thread itself that is sewn through the fabric, which does seem like it would be more likely to not come out. A fun experiment to try the next time I have to do this, which will not be on this dress. Therefore, you have time to tell me your hacks in the comments so I can try them next time. All right, you don't need to watch me struggle this time. Come back in 10 minutes and watch me struggle with the next thing. It actually wasn't that hard. Yay for stretchy material! With the drawstring done, I moved on to the bodice, which meant sewing that 2-piece back piece into 1 piece, only whoops, I forgot I had 0 seam allowance there, and of course it was cut very crooked, so upon sewing it together, the whole piece was about 1.5 inches smaller than it should be. Luckily, I had a tiny bit of fabric left, so I proceeded to casually chop way more off than necessary on the 2 sides. Why did I cut that much off? And then I inserted a panel to widen it to the proper size. I spent a solid few minutes questioning my own math, which was justified because my math was indeed wrong. I bent math to my will though, meaning I basically just removed all seam allowance and sewed right on the edge of the fabric, and you know what? It worked. Also, it's the back lining piece, so like, I just don't care that much about it. Perfection! Okay. Every time I change the white balance because I think it looks really bad, 5 minutes later I'm like, why did I do that? Now it's so dark and it looks worse. With the shoulders sewn together, it was then time to figure out how to attach the outer bodice to the lining with no bound edges. Good job, little machine. Something I've never done before. All right, how the does this work? I know there's a way to do this where everything, neck, arms, the whole 9 yards, is a nice clean seam. It's like the burrito method or something. Am I gonna go look it up? Nah. I think what you do is you sew the neckline first. I could so easily go look this up and watch a video, but I'm gonna give myself like 10 minutes to see if I can figure it out on my own first, because that is who I am. I figured it out! On the first side at least. Now I just have to figure out the second side. Okay, no, I think I've got this. So, you sew the whole neck together, turn it right side out, then you take your strap that needs to be sewn together, right side to right side, like you would normally do it, but you take your other strap and just stick it in the middle. Then you do right side to right side. Same thing with the entire piece. The rest of it is just stuck inside the middle. Easier than I thought it would be. Sew the whole thing, and now you pull the other part out from inside like a weird magic trick. And magically, you have a tank top with all of your edges neatly stitched. Huzzah! Then I just have to sew the side seams together, and in theory, the top part should be done. Oh my god, y'all, stuff is working. Shocking. I know. Does it fit? Yeah, that's not bad at all. I will iron this. I said I would, and I will. Okay. Pockets! I didn't film much of inserting the pockets. Sorry, it wasn't really that interesting, y'all. Mostly because I got it right on the first try and didn't have to redo anything. What? But they went in like normal side seam pockets, basically, and look how lovely. Yay! We have skirt! Look at that pocket. Functioning pockets are always gorgeous. It's gathering time. I'm gonna run out of thread. Now we just gather down the top of this massive skirt. What could be simpler? Hi, it's the next morning because life happens and discussions had to be had, and then it was bedtime. Responsibility was thrust upon me. I still never ironed this. I'm gonna go do it now. It's happening. And iron I did. After that, I just had to pin the gathered skirt onto the bodice and sew all the way around, which I managed with only a few whoopsie daisies. What the? How do I break a needle on 3 layers of knit? Psh, you're weak. Oh, I mentioned that I don't sew over pins? It's for this reason, because you can break needles sometimes and I'd prefer not to. There was a pin hidden in those layers. Whoops! That's on me. It's usually on me, let's be honest. Sorry. Don't hide pins in your fabric. It's fine. Oh. It's happening again. Yo. I literally just almost did the exact same thing again. What is wrong with me? That seems fine. Let me go try it on.
A few moments later.
Okay, so it's definitely very comfy, so I have been successful there. However, I do need to take up the straps, I think because I just didn't take into account the weight of the dress and the fact that it's a stretchy fabric. So I think if this was a woven fabric, they'd be fine. But the way that the dress kind of pulls down on the straps, it's just making them too long. Do I want to have to open up these seams and take up the straps neatly on the inside? No, I stood there for like a solid 3 minutes deciding if I cared, but it's a lot. It would fit way better with a lot taken out and also taken out on a diagonal so that the straps conform better to my shoulders, which have a slope like most shoulders do. So I'm gonna do that. And then I think I want the bodice to be about 1 inch shorter, so I'm just gonna move the skirt up, and I'm gonna do that the lazy way by just folding it over and sewing a second stitch, which I think I will use to put the drawstring in. That's the plan. It's gonna be super boring, so you don't have to stick around. I'll come back when it's done. I hate seam ripping. Gonna turn on my programs so I'll stop complaining. Alrighty, as predicted, it was super boring. Good thing I didn't make you watch. But I've got the straps taken up. I went the sort of easy cheater way and did a whole stitch around the neckline. Look, this dress is all about comfort and laziness. You know how lazy I am? I'm not even gonna frickin' hem it because the entire hem of this dress I cut on the selvage. It's kind of a weird length. Don't care. Sometimes you just need to make a dress that fulfills a function, and that function is being comfy. Last thing I have to do is add the drawstring. When I took the waistline up, I basically just left 2 little holes where I didn't sew, and I'm gonna string the drawstring through that. Seems like it should work, right? Sure. Alrighty, that should be it. Let's see how it looks. Okay, well, that's that. Thanks for joining me while I avoided adult responsibilities for a day, kind of more like 2 halves of days. It was very nice to just make something and not care. Although quite honestly, for all of the laziness that I was making this dress with, I still took the time to go back and unpick all of these seams and take up the shoulders so it would fit better, and like, progress, y'all. That's my character development. Ooh, random side fact that relates more to an earlier video than to this one. I was mentioning at some point that there was a nest of doves right outside the door here, and I was working in here a lot because I really wanted to see them fly away for the first time. I saw them flapping their wings a bunch, but I looked up there last night and the nest was empty, so I was like, oh, I missed them flying away. But when I was taking pictures of this out in the backyard, I just found the 2 baby doves out behind my plants. I hope they're okay, because I didn't see any sign of the parent doves anywhere around. There's really clearly a bigger baby and a smaller baby, and I thought that the bigger one was like staying there to protect the smaller baby, but the smaller bird managed to fly all the way into the tree, so I think he's okay. And it was the bigger one that was just sitting there on the fence like, I am invisible. Anyway, I didn't want to scare him too bad, so I just left eventually, but that's my update on the baby doves. Back to this dress. Adding the drawstring was definitely a good idea. Without it, it was kind of baggy gapey, which like you don't have to tie the drawstring, so if I wanted it to still be kind of baggy gapey, I could leave it that way. But I personally preferred a little cinched in because I like a little bit of structure to my clothes, despite them being soft and stretchy and moldable. It is a weird length, but it is very comfy. I'm really getting into empire waist things lately. I used to never wear them because I was all like, oh, it's gonna make me look like a baby doll, and now I'm like, okay, comfy. Anyway, I can avoid the editing no longer, so I better go do that. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, thanks for being here when I just need someone to chat to, and both my partner and my dog are not here. I wish I could tell you what upcoming videos will be. There's a call right now for a Pinafore tutorial, and I've heard it, and it's on my list. But I just don't know what the next several weeks or months are gonna look like anymore. So yeah. So who honestly knows? I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. But you know what? I'll try to make videos as fun as possible. As the kids say, send good vibes. Okay, thanks, bye! Look down upon my notebook. Squeaker. Do not breathe that way. I am suspicious. Then I just have to sew the... Blah, that was weird. Boop boop be doo.